In the world of sport, legends are not simply born. They are forged in fire, shaped by struggle, and defined by the relentless pursuit of greatness. Among these rare figures stands Cristiano Ronaldo, a man whose name echoes across stadiums, headlines, and generations. His story is more than football. It is the narrative of a boy who rose from the volcanic island of Madeira, carrying dreams too vast for its narrow streets. From the beginning, fate seemed determined to test him, to weigh down his ambitions with poverty, with doubt, with the quiet whispers that some dreams were too distant for a child of his origin. But Ronaldo was different. His hunger was sharper, his resilience harder, his belief unshakable. To watch him run, leap, and score was to witness not only an athlete, but a phenomenon who transcended boundaries of geography, language, and culture. Fans saw more than goals. They saw the manifestation of hope, proof that circumstance does not define destiny. Every sprint down the wing was a message. Every record broken, a statement. Greatness is earned, not gifted. The boy from Madeira would become a man who redefined what it meant to be relentless. He became not just Cristiano Ronaldo the player, but CR7 the brand, the icon, the global ambassador of ambition. Yet behind the flashbulbs and silverware lies a human story, full of sacrifice, heartbreak, triumph, and legacy. This is not simply the tale of a footballer. It is the cinematic odyssey of one of the greatest athletes the world has ever known. In the beginning, there was only a dream, fragile as the thin air that swept through the cliffs of Madeira, but powerful enough to carry a boy beyond the horizon of his small island. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro, born in 1985, was the youngest of 4 children in a family that often had little more than determination to survive. His father worked as a gardener and a kit man, his mother as a cook, and their modest income was stretched to breaking. Yet even as a child, Ronaldo showed an unshakable defiance against circumstance. He played football with such intensity that neighbors whispered about his obsession, and teachers sometimes scolded him for caring about little else. But for Ronaldo, football was not a distraction. It was salvation, the vehicle that could take him from obscurity to immortality. On those narrow streets, with a battered ball, he developed a speed that seemed to challenge physics and a spirit that no setback could extinguish. Many children dream. He lived inside his. Long before the world knew his name, he carried himself with the conviction of someone destined to alter history. The poverty, the ridicule, the endless training sessions, all of it was fuel for a fire that would burn brighter than anyone around him could comprehend. There, among the crashing waves and rugged hillsides, a legend was in formation, unnoticed by the world, but undeniable to himself. For even then, he believed he was not ordinary. He dreamed not only of goals, but of a destiny written under the stadium lights, eternal and untouchable. Cristiano's childhood was marked not only by scarcity, but also by sacrifice. His father, José Dennis, struggled with alcoholism, and though he introduced his son to football through his work at the local club, his influence was shadowed by hardship. His mother, Maria Dolores, carried the family with resilience, often skipping meals so her children could eat. In their tiny home, space was tight and opportunities tighter, but young Cristiano's energy was boundless. He would practice for hours, dribbling between improvised goalposts, using any patch of land as a stadium. Teachers recall him crying when classmates mocked his accent and background. His determination hardened each insult into motivation. At the age of 12, when Sporting Lisbon offered him a place at their academy, his family faced the impossible choice of letting their boy leave home for a distant city. The decision broke his mother's heart, yet she understood destiny was calling. Alone in Lisbon, far from his family and his island, Ronaldo faced loneliness, bullying, and doubts. He missed home so intensely that he would sometimes cry himself to sleep, but he never allowed weakness to slow his drive. At 15, a heart condition nearly ended everything, threatening to stop the dream before it began. Surgery saved him, and within weeks, he returned to the pitch with greater hunger than ever. Every challenge, every obstacle, seemed designed to test whether he was truly willing to pay the price of greatness. His answer was always yes, and each hardship was transformed into fuel for the extraordinary journey ahead. At Sporting CP, Cristiano's gifts quickly became impossible to ignore. Coaches marveled at his pace, the sharpness of his dribbling, and his insatiable desire to train beyond everyone else. He was the first to arrive, the last to leave, often practicing tricks, shots, and sprints until exhaustion forced him to stop. Yet his rise was not greeted with universal admiration. Some teammates resented his self-belief, mocking his dedication and flashy style. But Ronaldo seemed immune to discouragement. At just 17, he made his debut for Sporting's senior team, dazzling spectators with his fearless runs and skillful footwork. His true breakthrough, however, came in a friendly match against Manchester United in 2003. Facing one of the biggest clubs in the world, the wiry teenager humiliated established defenders with his stepovers and lightning speed. United's players left the pitch urging their legendary manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, to sign him immediately. That evening marked the turning point of a career destined for global stages. Within weeks, Ferguson secured his signature for £12.24 million, making Ronaldo the most expensive teenager in English football at the time. The boy from Madeira, who once chased shadows on island streets, was now preparing to wear the red shirt of one of the most iconic clubs in the world. As he boarded the plane to England, he carried not only his suitcase, but also the hopes of his family, the pride of Portugal, and the unshakable belief that the dream he nurtured since childhood was now on the verge of becoming reality. Arriving in Manchester at only 18, Cristiano Ronaldo faced a new world of pressure, expectation, and opportunity. He spoke little English, carried the weight of a record transfer fee, and walked into a locker room filled with champions who doubted whether this young Portuguese winger could live up to the hype. But Sir Alex Ferguson saw in him not just potential, but destiny. From his very first training sessions, Ronaldo astonished teammates with his footwork, his explosive pace, and his endless determination to impress. He wore the famous number 7 shirt, once graced by icons like George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham, a burden that could have crushed him. Instead, Ronaldo embraced it as a crown. On his debut against Bolton Wanderers, he lit up Old Trafford with dazzling stepovers and fearless runs, announcing himself to English football in style. Yet, behind the glamour, he endured frustration. He was often accused of being selfish, too theatrical, too lightweight for the rugged English game. But his resilience was unbreakable. He stayed late after training, honing his free kicks, strengthening his body, and transforming weakness into weapons. He struggled with the physicality of the Premier League at first, often criticized for doing too many stepovers and lacking in product. But Ferguson protected him, nurturing his raw brilliance into disciplined excellence. Training was brutal. Matches were unforgiving. Yet Ronaldo adapted, adding strength to his frame, precision to his finishing, and intelligence to his movement. By his second season, he was no longer a boy learning the game. He was becoming one of its most electrifying stars, and the Premier League had found its newest phenomenon. The transformation of Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United was nothing short of remarkable. Under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance, he evolved from a raw, flashy winger into a ruthless attacker capable of deciding games single-handedly. He added muscle to his frame, endurance to his lungs, and intelligence to his movement, turning weaknesses into strengths. By the 2006 World Cup, his reputation was global, though controversy followed after his infamous wink during England's elimination, painting him as a villain in the English press. But Ronaldo thrived on pressure. channeling negativity into performance. The 2006-07 season saw him explode, scoring 23 goals and winning the first of 3 consecutive Premier League titles. His flair was now combined with devastating productivity. By 2007-08, he had become unstoppable. 42 goals in all competitions, leading United to the Champions League title in Moscow. His soaring header in the final and coolly converted penalty in the shootout sealed his first European crown. That year, he also lifted his first Ballon d'Or, cementing his status as the best player in the world. Old Trafford had witnessed the making of a superstar who no longer played for approval, but for history. From a skinny boy mocked for stepovers, he had become a lethal finisher feared across Europe. His bond with Ferguson was profound, like a father and son, each recognizing in the other a relentless drive to win. But destiny was calling again, and it was Real Madrid who waited with the promise of a new chapter. When Real Madrid came knocking in 2009, the move was inevitable. For a world record fee of £80 million, Cristiano Ronaldo traded Old Trafford's red for the white of the Santiago Bernabeu. The transfer was not just a signing. It was a statement of intent by the Spanish giants. Arriving in Madrid, he carried the weight of expectation that came with being the most expensive footballer in history. The pressure was immense, the scrutiny relentless, but Ronaldo thrived under the spotlight. In his very first season, he scored 33 goals, proving instantly that the investment was justified. Yet the challenge in Spain was unlike anything before. Here, he would face Lionel Messi and the greatest Barcelona side ever assembled, sparking a rivalry that would define an era. Every Clásico became a battle of wills, artistry against athleticism, genius against grit. Madrid demanded not only brilliance, but trophies, and Ronaldo was determined to deliver. His intensity in training shocked teammates. His professionalism set new standards, and his hunger for goals became insatiable. Fans who once doubted soon adored him, chanting his name as he shattered record after record. This was no longer the boy proving himself. This was a man at the peak of his power, ready to carve his name alongside the immortals of the game. His arrival marked the dawn of a new Galactico era, one that would redefine what dominance in football truly meant. The years at Real Madrid would elevate Ronaldo from superstar to legend. Week after week, he delivered goals at an unprecedented rate, scoring with both feet, with his head from distance, and in moments of highest tension. His physique was sculpted for power, his mentality sharpened for war, and his execution refined to near perfection. Between 2010 and 2018, he scored an astonishing 450 goals in just 438 appearances, a record that may never be broken. He became Madrid's all-time leading scorer, surpassing icons like Alfredo Di Stefano and Raul. But beyond numbers, it was the glory he brought that defined him. For Champions League titles in 5 years, including the historic La Decima in 2014, forever tied his name to the club's greatest triumphs. His hat-trick against Wolfsburg, his goals in finals, his leadership in critical moments. Ronaldo was the heartbeat of Madrid's modern dynasty. The rivalry with Messi pushed him to even greater heights, each man chasing the other in a duel that captivated the world. Where Messi brought artistry, Ronaldo brought ferocity. Where Messi glided, Ronaldo soared. Together, they redefined the limits of football, forcing each other into greatness. Madrid had gambled on a dream in 2009, but by the time Ronaldo left in 2018, he had delivered more than anyone imagined. A legacy not only of trophies, but of dominance, discipline, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. But greatness often comes with challenges, and at Real Madrid, Ronaldo faced constant battles beyond the pitch. The Spanish media scrutinized his every move, questioning his temperament, his celebrations, even his private life. Rival fans jeered him mercilessly, but he transformed hostility into fuel, responding with goals and gestures of defiance. Inside the dressing room, he demanded the highest standards, sometimes clashing with teammates, but always leading by example. His work ethic became legendary. Extra hours in the gym, meticulous recovery routines, a diet plan for maximum performance. Younger players looked to him as a model, though few could match his discipline. The rivalry with Barcelona was brutal, marked by epic duels that enthralled the globe. Ronaldo's thunderous strikes against Barca became symbols of resistance, moments when he carried Madrid on his shoulders. Off the field, his image grew into a global brand, CR7. Endorsements, business ventures, and a personal clothing line expanded his influence far beyond football. He became one of the most followed figures on social media, a cultural icon as much as an athlete. Yet for all the glitz and glamour, Ronaldo never lost sight of the game itself. Each match remained a battlefield, each goal a mission. By the end of his Madrid chapter, he had not only conquered Spain, but also ensured that his name would be spoken in the same breath as the greatest players of all time. And still, the story was far from over. In 2018, after nearly a decade of rewriting history at Real Madrid, Cristiano Ronaldo made a stunning move to Juventus in Italy. At 33 years old, many questioned whether he could maintain the same intensity in a new league, but Ronaldo had built his reputation on silencing doubters. In Turin, he adapted to the tactical discipline of Serie A with characteristic determination. Goals flowed quickly. He scored 28 in his debut season, guiding Juventus to another league title. His arrival reinvigorated Italian football, drawing global attention back to Serie A and filling stadiums with fans eager to witness his magic. Beyond the goals, Ronaldo's professionalism transformed the club's culture. Younger teammates marveled at his fitness routines, his diet, his obsession with improvement. He was not content with past glories. He sought new frontiers. Champions League glory, however, proved elusive. Despite heroic performances, including a legendary hat-trick against Atletico Madrid that single-handedly carried Juventus into the quarterfinals, the dream of European triumph remained unfulfilled. Still, his influence was undeniable. He became the fastest player in Juventus history to reach 50 goals in Serie A and left behind records that reinforced his adaptability across leagues. Italy saw not just a superstar, but a master craftsman still sculpting his legacy, determined to prove that age was powerless against discipline and desire. Ronaldo's Juventus years may not have delivered Europe's crown, but they reaffirmed his status as football's eternal competitor. The return to Manchester United in 2021 was a homecoming scripted like a football fairy tale. After 12 years, Ronaldo walked back onto the Old Trafford pitch to a thunderous ovation, embodying nostalgia and renewed hope for a new generation of fans. His second debut was nothing short of cinematic. 2 goals against Newcastle, a reminder that even at 36, his hunger had not faded. But beyond the romance of his return, reality proved harsher. United was a team in transition, struggling with inconsistency and internal turmoil. Ronaldo, however, still delivered moments of brilliance, spectacular volleys, decisive Champions League strikes, and late winners that carried echoes of his earlier glory. He finished the season as United's top scorer, proving his value remained undiminished. Yet tension simmered. Critics argued his style disrupted the team's balance, while his visible frustration at mediocrity sometimes spilled over. His professional standards clashed with a club searching for direction, and by late 2022, the partnership unraveled in controversy. A dramatic interview revealed his discontent, and his contract was terminated, ending a chapter that began with promise but closed in turbulence. For Ronaldo, it was both painful and liberating. a reminder that even legends are not immune to the complexities of modern football. Still, his performances showed that his fire burned bright, and the story was far from finished. He would seek new horizons, proving again that his journey was never defined by comfort, but by the relentless pursuit of challenge. When Cristiano Ronaldo signed with Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia in late 2022, the football world gasped. For some, it seemed like the twilight of his career, a farewell played on distant shores. Yet Ronaldo reframed the narrative. To him, this was not a retreat, but a revolution. Saudi Arabia aimed to grow football into a global power, and Ronaldo's presence became its boldest statement. He arrived to unprecedented fanfare, welcomed by thousands in a dazzling ceremony that symbolized both his enduring stardom and the nation's ambition. On the pitch, he continued to score with remarkable regularity, proving that age had not dulled his instincts. Beyond goals, his impact was seismic. He elevated the league's profile, drawing international eyes, encouraging other stars to follow, and reshaping perceptions of Middle Eastern football. Critics who dismissed the move as retirement found themselves witnessing the dawn of a new chapter in the global game. For Ronaldo, it was an opportunity to leave not only a footballing legacy, but also a cultural one, influencing generations in regions that once watched him from afar. Even as he passed 38, his physical condition remained astonishing, his professionalism intact. More than a player, he became an ambassador, showing once again that Ronaldo's story was not confined to boundaries of nation, club, or continent. It was the continuing saga of a man determined to expand football's frontier. Parallel to his club career, Cristiano Ronaldo's journey with the Portugal national team forms a story of persistence, heartbreak, and ultimate triumph. He debuted for Portugal at just 18, representing his country at Euro 2004, where he announced himself on the international stage with fearless performances. That tournament ended in heartbreak with defeat to Greece in the final, but it was only the beginning. Over the years, Ronaldo carried the hopes of a nation, often criticized when Portugal fell short, yet never deterred. His tears after the Euro 2004 final became iconic, a symbol of how deeply he lived the game. For years, international glory seemed just out of reach, with painful exits in World Cups and European Championships. But in 2016, destiny changed. Leading Portugal to the Euro final against France, Ronaldo was forced off injured in the first half, yet his passion burned from the sidelines. He transformed into a coach, urging his teammates forward, and when Eder struck the winning goal, Ronaldo's tears were of joy. It was Portugal's first major trophy, and his legacy as captain was immortalized. Later, in 2019, he lifted the inaugural UEFA Nations League, further cementing his country's place in football's elite. With over 120 international goals, he stands as the highest scorer in the history of men's international football. For Portugal, he became more than a player. He became the embodiment of national pride, a leader whose journey mirrored the aspirations of an entire nation. Cristiano Ronaldo's story is not only written in goals and trophies, but in the sheer statistical dominance that has defined his career. Numbers became his language, each one a testament to relentless consistency. Over 800 official goals, making him the highest scorer in football history, a figure that once seemed unreachable. More than 1,100 professional appearances across club and country, a demonstration of durability rarely seen in such a physically demanding sport. He remains the all-time leading scorer in the UEFA Champions League, a competition where only the elite thrive, with over 140 goals. 5 Ballon d'Or awards, 3 UEFA Best Player in Europe titles, for European Golden Shoes, and countless other accolades build a resume unmatched in modern times. At Real Madrid alone, he averaged more than a goal per game, a feat that defies belief. At the international level, he became the first man to reach 200 caps, a captain who redefined longevity. Even into his late 30s, Ronaldo continued to break records, becoming the oldest player to score a hat trick in the World Cup. His career is a living archive of milestones, each one pushing the boundaries of possibility. To speak of Cristiano is to speak of history itself, etched not in vague memories, but in figures so staggering they demand respect. His legacy is measured not in years, but in decades of sustained greatness, a career that stretched beyond limits and redefined what footballers could achieve. Yet numbers alone cannot capture the full essence of Cristiano Ronaldo. Beyond the pitch, his personal life reveals dimensions of resilience, humanity, and dedication that complete his portrait. Born into modest means in Madeira, he never forgot his origins, carrying with him the lessons of sacrifice and humility instilled by his family. His mother, Dolores Aveiro, remains central to his story, her struggles and strength inspiring his pursuit of excellence. Fatherhood softened the edges of his relentless persona, revealing a man deeply committed to his children, eager to guide them with the same discipline that shaped him. Cristiano Jr., his eldest son, already trains under his guidance, while his younger children enjoy a life far removed from the hardships he endured. Off the field, Ronaldo became one of the world's most generous philanthropists, donating millions to hospitals, children's causes, and disaster relief. He has funded cancer research, financed medical treatment for children, and consistently used his platform for good. Fame never distracted him from humanity. Though critics often painted him as arrogant, those close to him testify to his kindness and loyalty. His life is a reminder that greatness is not only about how many trophies one lifts, but also about how much one gives back. Ronaldo, the global superstar, never forgot the barefoot boy from Madeira, ensuring that his journey uplifted not only himself but countless others. The cultural impact of Cristiano Ronaldo transcends football. He became a global icon whose influence extended to fashion, fitness, and social media, where he commands the largest following of any athlete. The CR7 brand evolved into a symbol of excellence, encompassing clothing, fragrances, hotels, and gyms, each venture reflecting his dedication to quality. But more than commercial ventures, his lifestyle inspired millions to embrace discipline, health, and ambition. Young athletes imitated his training drills, his celebrations, even his mindset. Fans across continents wore his jersey not only for allegiance, but as a statement of aspiration. His rivalry with Lionel Messi defined an era, captivating audiences beyond football, transforming sports into a narrative of dual excellence that spanned 15 years. Together, they drew billions to the game, elevating its reach and redefining entertainment in sport. For Portugal, he became a national treasure. For the world, a universal figure. His image is etched on murals in distant villages, his name shouted in stadiums across continents. He showed that football could unite cultures, languages, and generations. Critics debated his legacy endlessly, but few could deny the inspiration he offered. He was not merely admired for his success, but revered for embodying the pursuit of human potential. In an age of fleeting stars, Ronaldo's light endured, a cultural phenomenon as enduring as his career itself, bridging sport with global identity. And so the story of Cristiano Ronaldo is not simply about a footballer, but about a man who turned dreams into destiny. From a small island in Madeira to the grandest stages of world football, he carried with him an unshakable belief that limits were illusions. His journey is a chronicle of sacrifice, of sweat-drenched mornings and sleepless nights, of tears shed in defeat and roars unleashed in triumph. It is the story of a boy mocked for his skinny frame who became the embodiment of strength, of a teenager doubted for his flair who matured into a symbol of consistency, of a man criticized for arrogance who showed the world humility through generosity. Ronaldo's life is proof that greatness is not given but earned again and again through work, will, and resilience. As the final whistle of his playing days approaches, his legacy does not fade. It radiates, echoing across time, reminding future generations that perfection lies not in being flawless, but in refusing to yield. In him, we see the infinite possibility of human willpower. And when history recalls football's greatest, it will not merely count his goals, medals, or records. It will remember the spirit of Cristiano Ronaldo, a man who taught the world that to dream without fear and to fight without end is the truest victory of all.